Hello everybody. Welcome to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be walking you guys through the process of installing my SQL server and my SQL Workbench. So what are those two things? My SQL server basically is the server that will host your data, and the Workbench is the editor, basically where you write your code to query your data that is sitting in the server. Okay? But before we get started, if you are new to this channel or if you have not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe so that the next time I produce similar video, you will be notified automatically. And please like the videos as well. That shows me, at least gives me the encouragement to continue making these videos. Okay, so let's get to it. How do you do this thing? But let me take a digression before I start this. Why do you need this? Why do you need this MySQL stuff? You know, why do you need these things? Why do we care? Why do we worry? Life is simple. Why? You know, okay. So basically, just a little overview of what we need these things for. So if you are a data analyst, if you are a software engineer, if you are a data engineer, or anybody really who works with data that is sitting in a database, then most likely you may have worked with SQL. And SQL in full is structured query language. And what it does is it lets you to interact with relational database data. And relational database data basically is a tabular data that is, you know what, if you've worked with Excel, right? Like you will have a columns or fields on top, and then your rows going down, and things like that. Very structured. So a database or a relational database is basically, a database that hosts a bunch of those things, like, the way you have it in Excel, your files, your data. So in database world, the way you query your data, the way you're able to view that data, SQL lets you do that. Okay. And as a data analyst, most of the time you work with SQL, and unless you have set this environment up in your local cluster where you're working with these things, if you're working for a company, most of the time you may find it that they have set the environment for you. They have all of these things ready for you to work and do what is meaningful for you. So you don't have to worry about setting it up and configuring it to host and managing the clusters and all of those things. You don't have to worry about that. So most of the time you'll find all of the things have been set up for you. Now that is great, right? But the problem is if you are new to SQL and you want to play with the environment, you want to check things around and mess things and break things and be comfortable, then you most of the time you'll not be able to do that with the company data because they don't want that. They don't want you, to do that because you might break something, you might do something that somebody else will be yelling at you, or so you don't have the ownership when you work with the company data. And to some extent that limits you, right? It limits you in exploring, like basically getting a better understanding of how things work, how the queries, playing with different queries, deleting tables, deleting fields, creating them, that independence, it does not give you the complete authority of doing that. And I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and he also he's a data analyst and he's new to SQL, so he wanted a way of basically ramping up faster. And this he feels the same thing that I was just mentioning, that he works with a company and he he just finds the data already set up for him. So all he does is, running a bunch of stored procedures that have been written. Either somebody wrote it for him and they just gave it to him. Okay, but you have to run this at this specific time, or if you want to get your report, just run this query, and you get all you need. Okay, that's great. It give that's fine. I mean, that's awesome. You know what you need to do for your work. But in some extent, you just want to explore that capability and be able to basically be confident of what you're doing, and having an environment in your laptop basically where you can play, sort of a playing playground where you can play without worrying about anybody yelling at you, is a great thing to have. And that's what I'm going to be showing you today. the process, the processes of setting it up and you know loading data to that environment and playing with it. That's what I'm going to be showing you today. Okay, so three things. Number one is installing the server. Number two is the editor, which is the workbench. And number three, loading data to the environment. And then from there, you can start running your SQL queries. From there, you can go to any YouTube and just learn all of the language itself. So you have the environment, you have the data. Now you can learn the language. So I'll be showing you, through that process. I'll be walking you through that process. And this is important for me to show you because I struggled a little bit at the beginning when I was trying to set it up. And I never learned this thing in college. We never had it. I mean, we had some classes, really, but high level classes of database, teaches you high level, basically very high level stuff, how databases work and all of those things. But we never learned the basics. And the basics are really important because that is what you'll be doing most of your work. You have to know the basics at least before you know the high level stuff. Software engineers can write a database, create a database, but you as a data analyst, you don't care about that. You just want to run your queries, generate your report, and be able to have it work. So having an environment in your local laptop or having a local environment that you work with is a great thing. So, all right, I don't want to bore you guys. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. I don't know if that's something bad. All right, so the first thing you have to do is open your Google browser and navigate to MySQL downloads. I have it open here, but I'll just show you. If you go to MySQL downloads and click enter, this is the first page that you will probably see. So just click that and go down to MySQL community. This is the one we want. There are some other options here, but we just want the community edition. The community one is free. You don't have to pay for anything. So just click that. And then here you will get a number of options that you will use. The ones that you're interested in is the MySQL installer for Windows. I'm using Windows. If you are using Mac, I think you can just install, search for installation for Mac, and it will, give you the options for that. So this is for Windows. Now there are a couple of options here. This one, the first one here is the community server. If you download this, it only gives you the server. And to get the editor, you'll have to install it separately, which is the Workbench here. But I'm going to pick this one, MySQL installer for Windows. This one comes with the two options, the server and the Workbench. So I'm going to pick this. And when you come to the options here, you get two options, MSI installers. Basically, these two options are the same, really. Only difference, slightly different. Really. One is Speaker. It has more programs and products that comes with it. But the first one here. Only it has smaller products, but it has what you need, right? It has the server and it has the Workbench. So I'm going to go with this. I don't want to generate a big one. So I will click the first one. And here it's asking you for login and sign up. You don't have to do any of that. It's if you see here, there's an option for no thank you. I will just download it. So click that, and your download is ready. So here is your download, and it is sort of exe.msi, this one. So you don't have to extract anything, just click it and it will install it for you. So just click that. Here is it's asking you to install it. So just go through the processes of installing. Clicking yes, all through. Okay, so that is coming up. All right. So the setup has a number of options. It has the server only, client only, full custom. The one we want to choose is the custom one because we want to choose the programs that we need to be installed. So if you choose full, it will install everything. Client only will install only the MySQL client products. So it will not include the server. So it will be the Workbench and the MySQL shell and things like that. So choose custom here, move on to next, and here is where we specify the products that we want installed. So here I want the server, and there are a number of functions here. We want to take the latest one, so I'm just going to pick the latest one, move it to this side. That means that this is the one we want to install. Going to minimize this again, and then on the application side, I want to install my Workbench. This is the editor now that I was talking about. So pick that one, and then there are some connectors. I'm not going to worry about those or any of these other ones. So I'm just going to install these first two, the server and the Workbench. Okay. So we connect, and it is saying that this directory already is taken. Selected path already exists. Okay. So let's go there. I don't know why it says it exists. So I'm going to search for that one here. Okay, so it seems there is another process that's running there already. So I'm going to remove this. Right? I'm going to remove this one here. Okay. Close folder. Open another program. So there's another program that's running this. So let's see what happens. This in some instances this might cause a problem because it is there already. So I'm just going to leave it. You know what? Actually, I will not. I will use another directory for all this. For this, I'm going to my user here. Under my user directory, I will create my SQL. Okay, my SQL. So I'm going to choose this directory here to install or to have this one be installed here. Okay, but by default, it creates by default. So for me, I think I had already installed MySQL before and it created data in there, so it might cause problems when I'm installing for the second time. So I'm just going to choose this, but for you, you might not, it might be clean environment for you, so you might not see this alert here, so you don't have to worry about this. But for me, I'm going to, this is for the data, so I'm going to just choose a different one. So I created that one, program data. You know what, actually, program data. What if I don't do that? Okay, I'll just leave that. Go here and let the data be stored right here. Okay, select the path already exists. I don't know what that means. Okay, we'll just continue. Okay, are you sure you want to continue? Sure. What maybe this is one. I'll just put everything in that place. So it was desktop, not desktop. Okay, it is this PC right here, and then users, my user. I don't know if there's any. Okay, I'll put everything there. Okay. Oh, oh, I think I know why. Because it is going to create my SQL. So how about I do that? I do this. So like that. Don't know. Actually, let's just select it. I'm just going to select my user directory. From users, I will put it here itself about that. Okay, so it puts it like that. Let's see what happens. Okay, then click next. So this is, it's downloading now, and then the next step we will install it, and then we just go through all of the steps on the left here. All of this we'll go through those steps. And so now we are ready to install. Go ahead and install them. It's pretty quick. It's nice. Okay. So this one is installing, and then that is good. So now we are ready to configure the server. Let's go ahead and do that. Great. And now the next step here is the type and networking. So I'm just going to leave the default one here. But make note of the port here. This is the port where MySQL runs, okay, by default. Whether it is running in cloud, whether it's running on-prem, MySQL runs in port 3306. So you will see this a lot if you are working with MySQL. So we'll click next, and then here it is saying that the authentication method we'll be using is a password, and this is it says use strong password encryption for authentication. This is recommended. So I'll go ahead and click next. And then when we come here, this is the password where we set our password. And by default, the username is root. If you're wondering where the username is and why it's not allowing us, by default it is root. So here we just want to enter the password. So I will enter the password here. Okay. So this is not a very strong password. You can set strongest as you like, but this is for demo purposes and this is just development, so I don't need to worry about the data that I put in here. So I'm going to click next, and then this will be your server name or service name, MySQL version 8. So I will leave everything here default. Click next, and here I want to grant full access for this Windows for the data that will be running here, and this is other directory that we chose when we were installing it in this previous step. So I'm just going to click next. Okay, if you click continue now, I don't know. Okay, access data is denied. All right, so it looks like this there is permission issues here, so I'm going to have to change that. I'm going to go back. All right, all right, so we'll do one thing. We'll reconfigure it. Okay, I'm just going to click continue, and then we'll reconfigure it and change that directory. Okay, so I'll just click continue. Okay, so it doesn't continue. Hold on, maybe there's an option of yes, but let me configure. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so this is the user. Let me see if I can give permissions for this. So administrator group are required. Alright, okay, so I will change this directory now. So it seems there is some permission issues on this one. So I will actually not let me just quit this, right? And then I will reconfigure it. So basically just quit it and then launch it again. You reconfigure it because you have already done most of the things. So I'm going to reconfigure this. So let's see. So I will put that one. Okay. Just enter my password again. So make sure it matches. Okay. Good. All right. So yeah, it's still going for that one. Still going for the same place. So and this is part of the installation process, right? You will run into these things and you'll have to troubleshoot it. It's painful, and this is where a lot of people give up. They just say, I keep running into issues. I don't want to deal with it. I'm just, I'm out. Okay, I'm out of here. I don't want to deal with it. All right, this thing is too stressful. So let's see. Let's see what we need to do. Okay, so I have my user here, and it says we do not have any access for this guy. So full control here. So let's see. The user running the system service are required to have full control. Okay, so this is me. Let me move this one here. Okay, and that was my user. Let me see if there's anything else here. Can I move everything here to this? So I'll just move everything to this side, right? Maybe that's what we need. User. Okay. No. Okay. 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 So let's see if this one will help us. No. After the application data is denied. So it does not want to write data here. Okay. Yeah, so let's do one thing. I'm going to get rid of this, and I will just choose instead of, maybe I think I have to check, but it could be uh, that they don't want us to install these things under users directory, but I will have to research why this is the case. So we'll do one thing. We will uninstall it and install it fresh. Okay, so that's the beauty of this. So we will cancel this process altogether, and we want to remove, okay, and install all of these products like that. Okay, so click execute, and then this time now we will so I will do one thing. I'm going to see if I can um, remove. This is going to go to, I want to install it in program files right here. Okay, so I see my SQL already here, and what I want to do is remove this guy and delete this. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So it's, my SQL is removed. Let's see. Okay, what is the other one? So this one has been, we want to uninstall this. So that one is gone. I don't see anything here else. Okay, so let's go ahead and retry that process again. So we want to go to our installation and try that once more. Okay, I'm glad this happened because this is part of the pain, right? And then a lot of these things are, this is how it is. It's, you run once and then something does not work. You have to go through it again. It is the painful process, and even in your programming work, you see one little bug, And going through this right now, I'm sure one of you guys knows what the problem with that one was, and you already know the answer. So I wish this was live stream because some of you could have pointed it to me. But basically, that's how the process is. You run it. You have one problem. You keep running it. You keep looking for that. So this one, there seem to be a conflict, and the conflict is on this one here, uh, program data, right? So I'm going to repoint this somewhere. I'm going here, and the program data is right here. So uh, instead of that, I will create another directory here, and I will name it my SQL 8, right? Because that's the function we are working on. So it seems this is where in our C directory, C drive, this is where the data will be stored because it's disk. So MySQL will store your data here, and logs and everything, and metadata and all of that. So let's see. I'm going to change this one, and we have program data. Let's see if we can. So let's choose this one now. Okay, so it already exists as well. Okay, let's see if we were going to run the same error this time. So it's okay. Let's execute. So it's installing now. And then after that, we will go to the next step here where we configure um, our password. So really, the whole process, and again, I'll mention it. This is the pain of setting this environment up. You will run into a lot of issues, and you'll have to look it up. And in some cases, you will not get the answer, and you'll have to go to YouTube, look, and then so if you are patient enough, and I think that is the whole point of programming and just working in this world, it requires a lot of patience. If you don't have that, you will quit and just say to hell with it. I don't want any of that. It's too painful. So let's move on and configure this. See that it's happening again now. The same error is coming up. So um, I will click finish here, and then we will reconfigure that again. Let's do it again. I know there's a problem somewhere, but this one is not even ready, right? If you click here, I'm sure it's going to tell us, oh yeah, it's not working because your server is not up. See that? The connection. Because you need the server, right? You need the server. So we will reconfigure this guy. This is the one that failed this time. So let's reconfigure it. And it is still failing here. Product home is here. So I'm going to do one thing this time. I'm going to do, let's see if we can modify it. All right, so if we modify it, there are some things here. Maybe it is one of these things that is causing the problem. I'll remove documentation from here and then just put this. What is this CPAC display? All right, maybe that's needed. I'll just remove the documentation. Still there. Modify this too. Still there. Okay. So I'm going to remove just this guy, just the server, right? I'll remove it and try to reinstall it again. Okay. So we are going to go back to the installer. We just want to pick the server only. add, right? We want to add, I could have done that from there. We want to add this, let's see, this guy, what happened? Okay, all right, so it let us do that. It's, you see, man, it's, but let's not celebrate yet. Let's keep going until we finish before we celebrate, because who knows, maybe somebody is waiting for us saying, oh yeah, you cannot celebrate yet. Okay, so this is going to be, by default it's taking this directory. We didn't take this, so let's see. All right, so that one worked. Okay, hooray, right? Hooray. So I think it will probably come down to the the directory where you put your data in, and I think it may have been looking for the default one. I'm not sure, but most of these things is trial and error. So now we have completed installing it, and that took us a little bit to troubleshoot. Okay, so it's working now. So just click finish, and then click next here. It's saying copy to clipboard, no need. So just go ahead, and there's still something here. All right, what was that? Reconfigure. Why do we need to reconfigure that? Okay. Um, no, because we just, hold on, reconfigure. Let's see what is string. Let's see, welcome. Okay, all right. I don't think this means anything. Okay, so just remove it. And then we want to launch MySQL Workbench. So remember the other time it was saying the server connection was not there. Let's see if, okay, sweet. So our server was installed properly now, and our connection is ready. So the way to confirm that, right, you have two options here in my Workbench. Again, this is the editor, and this is also where your server, you can manage the server and the other users. So here we have schemas and administration, two tabs here, so you can switch back and forth. So schemas here is where you have like all your data, tables. This is where you put them, right? So this is where you put all of those things. And administration section is where you see the status of your server. Okay, so our server is now running, right? That community server, the one we just installed, it's running properly now. It's showing here running. If it wasn't, you don't, it will not be showing you the status. This is the status here. And you can also now add users here and basically administer who has access to your database. And this is that user now. This is the root user that we use to log to our database. Okay. So that is it, guys. That's how you install MySQL Server and Workbench. I'm sorry that took a little bit of time because of those errors that we ran into. So I'm not going to show you in this video how to load data to this server, but I'll make another video to show you how to load the data and how to query the data. But ideally, you've seen now the steps. So we went through this process of installing the SQL Server and the Workbench, and we ran into some troubles there, and eventually we managed to go through it. And again, that is the pain of the process. So be patient. I think that's the takeaway in all of these processes. If you're patient enough, you will be able to pull through it. And I have been in a situation where I'm trying to install a software or set up something, and it doesn't work for like almost 2 days. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know. If you give up, then basically, you will not move forward. If you're trying to progress your career, try to learn a new skill. This is the step. These are the troubles that come through it. And you always have to be patient. Just try to, if it doesn't work today, come in tomorrow. Try to figure it out. Okay. Eventually, it will work. So that is the takeaway, at least in my experience, how a lot of these things work. Almost 90% of the time it doesn't work, and even you try, it doesn't work. Come back again. You know, take a break, walk out and then come back, look at it. It usually works, and it takes a lot of brain, you know, mental. So at the end of the day, when you get out, you're so tired, right? Your brain is not thinking properly. It's always good to take breaks and come back and work on it. And if it doesn't work, go online or check with a friend who may have done it before. Um, so that is it, guys. I mean, that is how you install the server, MySQL server, and the Workbench. And now in the next video, I will be showing you how to load data to this environment and how to query the data. So you can start your analysis and do all of that. Okay, guys, thank you very much for watching. And again, if you have not subscribed, please go ahead and do that. Thank you.